various activities which have been actually delineated for the various phases. For example, during the harbor phase, there are going to be discussions, there are going to be actually get-togethers, interaction on the professional subjects, and once they go to the sea, then definitely they are going to actually participate in the exercises which are basically meant to actually take on the challenges as it had been alluded by Admiral Shafi. So one thing which is very important is that such an interaction, it tends to encourage the confidence building between the navies, because once you come, stay together, work together, exercise together, even if you leave, then that understanding continues to be there. So it becomes very, very handy as and when there is some contingency in the region level and where you are ought to actually show up in order to support one country or other. So this understanding really becomes a tool for the successful handling of such a contingency.
Right. So Admiral Parvez, I believe one of the participants in this particular exercise is the F-22 frigate. And Pakistan Navy is showcasing it for the first time, and a number of navies and observers, and even those who are not participating, would be interested in this. Could you shed some light on that?
Yes, this is a program that the Pakistan Navy launched to acquire new frigates. For a long time, it's had to make do with frigates which were actually brought second-hand but upgraded in terms of weapons and sensors. But this is one thing that has been tailor-made to our own requirements. So 3 of them have already been procured and are with us, and the 4th is under construction, indigenous construction at Karachi shipyard. So understandably, the Pakistan Navy itself would be looking forward to see how it performs under simulated conditions.
Right. So Admiral Shafi, I believe you also served as the Deputy Chief of Naval Staff Operations, and you must have evaluated the threat. And the threat, they say, is not based on intentions, but on the capabilities. So in this exercise and otherwise, how are we going to look at the threat that faces Pakistan? Because Pakistan Navy is not only the custodian of the sea lines of communication, but also our maritime frontiers.
Yes, you know, as you say, you don't, in this modern world, you can't choose your neighbors. Pakistan is in an area which is in turmoil. You know, look at the North Arabian Sea, look at the Persian Gulf. And of course, not only this, this is also a very strategic area. More than 70% of the world's oil flows from here. So every country in the world is interested in this area. So are we. We have to defend our sea frontiers. That is the task given to us by the government. And we by ourselves would not be able to do so because of obvious reasons. It involves a lot of funding. So we get together with countries, allies, friends, and have a program whereby we can counter the threat. The world is changing. The time when 2 navies stood opposite each other firing away is gone, in my view. Now the sea influences activities on the land. The threats are not normal, they are asymmetric. So these activities will, of course, help us in learning what is the best option for us to adopt. Plus, we will also learn the latest methods. So will we improve and enhance our cooperation. So in case there is any eventuality, we are all set to meet and counter it.
Right. So Admiral Shahid, as the Chief COS when you served in the Pakistan Navy, you must have taken lessons from the previous 2 exercises, 07 and 09. Have you incorporated those lessons into the current exercise?
Definitely, yes, because ever since we took this initiative, there has been a lot of improvement vis-a-vis the scope of the exercise and the participation of the exercise. Because the first time when it was held in 2007, it was a very modest actually approach on the part of Pakistan Navy, because we had not been sure of the response which we are likely to get from the invitees. But having done that exercise, it brought us a lot of encouragement, and definitely ever since there has been actually the changing pattern of the exercise. Then we had been interacting with the participants, we had been seeking their views and keeping in view all those inputs, and I think now the exercise is more comprehensive and it is going to be more rewarding for the participants.
Right. So, Admiral Parvez Asghar, we have also seen that the Pakistan Navy came to the beck and call of not only the nation in 2005 when we had the devastating earthquake, but in 2010 we had the terrible floods and also the tsunami. So is there any aspect of this exercise which will look after the search and rescue activities?
Yes, that's right. In fact, like I mentioned, these days we are not focused on a single enemy thing. It's all about asymmetric and non-traditional threats. And whenever we exercise, in fact, the ships that are participating also as part of combined task force also indulge in search and rescue activities. But the sort that we indulged in the sort of scenarios that you mentioned is a little different because they're inland. We concentrate here on sea-based search and rescue exercises. But the Navy as such contains all manner of people. We have hardy people who operate in all sorts of terrains, and that's why they could operate when the earthquake struck. And we had versatile vehicles like hovercraft, for instance. They can operate, I think, in shallow waters and also can easily beach, and they served a very useful purpose here. But simply by the fact that they operate in conjunction with other navies also trains them for any other activity that they may be called upon to undertake.
Right. So, Admiral Shafi, you in your beginning of the program mentioned about the threat from piracy, the threat from what you call
human smugglers,
human trafficking, and so on. But Pakistan Navy's pride has been also participating, and not only participating, but commanding the PTF 150 and now 151. So, could you share with the viewers what are these?
Okay. You know, as we mentioned more than once, that the threat scenario has changed. And now you work together to counter an asymmetric threat, or, you know, like what is happening in Somalia, piracy. And for that you require more than one navies. Even a navy like the United States can't do it alone. Hence, we operate together. And now, to operate, you have to have a leader. So Pakistan Navy, because of its professionalism, was given the task of commanding the entire CT Task Force 150, which is required to operate in the North Arabian Sea and make sure that we can counter all or act on all three methods, that is benign operations, constabulary operations, and hostilities. And being a naval officer, I am proud to say that we came out so well that we were given this command again and again. And Alhamdulillah, our officers and men have proven equal to the task. Even now, I want to add one thing when we are talking about the advantages that accrue to Pakistan. You see, our professionalism is recognized in such a way that in this exercise, not only the participants, who the ships and aircraft will operate at sea, the SOFs, the Special Operations Forces, who will look at their area, but we also are having a large number of observers from other countries to come and learn and observe how we operate. And all this, you know, helps to enhance the image of Pakistan Navy, Pakistan Armed Forces, and of course Pakistan. So I think this is a very good activity which needs to continue frequently.
Admiral Shahid, in the Chief of Naval Staff, in a recent address at the PN Dockyard, he mentioned the CMCP, the Coalition Maritime campaign plan. What exactly is this?
It is an arrangement which has been made under the auspices of the NATO, wherein the regional countries, along with the extra-regional countries, they have actually made a actually group of ships. They have constituted a group of warships whose job is to actually patrol the waters which are so critical to the interest of the international community. Having said that, it means that the SLOCs are the sea lines of communication which are traversing through the North Arabian Sea. They have to be guarded against any misadventure. So the CMCP is going on since 2004, and we have been one of the leading regional countries who had participated with the ship and the helicopter ever since, and that participation is continuing till to date. And in the process, our participation had been not only acknowledged, but we had also been offered with the command of the task force. The same group which had been constituted had also been commanded by the Pakistan Navy 4 times, as it has been said by Admiral Shafi. So there is a general actually appreciation amongst the NATO countries in general and the US in particular, that in case if they have to make this program successful in this part of the world, the participation of the Pakistan Navy is mandatory, because the way they have participated, the way they have brought success to this whole program, and by virtue of their presence, how they had been able to lure other countries to actually come forward and be part of this program, it is being actually praised by each and sundry. Right. So this is a credit which the Pakistan Navy actually gets out of this whole participation.
Right. So Admiral Parvez, what exactly is RTTP, and how is it important in this exercise?
It's RTTP is...
This is technique and tactics learning and things like that. Response to tactics and techniques.
I think it's an ongoing process. So as things evolve, as more and more countries take part, you learn from each other, and by operating with each other, we tend to develop and improve upon our own techniques and tactics also.
Actually, may I add over
please,
here
please.
is that what is happening, that as we know that the scenario out at sea is changing very rapidly. And then likewise, the pirates and the people who tend to do a mischief, their tactics and their approaches are also changing. So a thing which had been relevant in 2004, it is no more relevant, because the way the pirates or the terrorists, they had been doing the things in those days, they are not doing now. So there is a continuous actually appraisal of the response options on the part of the CMCP, that how to deal with the situation.
Right.
So those responses
constantly
they are under reviewed.
Updating your standard.
They are being reviewed.
Exactly. So I get it.
So this RTT is an effort towards reviewing those.
Because a number of, you see, naval term, and I thought that our audience may not know. I didn't know about it, so I must thank you.
This is just a response, tactics and techniques and things like that.
Okay.
That the way, if the things had been done in a particular way about a year ago, but certain scenario they erupted, wherein we found that that very response may not be valid, or may not actually be comprehensive and deal with the situation, might well, no, this is the approach which has to be done. Right. So during such a gathering or such an exercise, or like Aman, we try to actually lecture each other, or try to gain and benefit from the experiences of some of the navies which might have handled such a scenario, and then they share and try to teach and bring in line with the procedure.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, with that we come to the end of this program. We could perhaps go on and on, because it was a very interesting discussion. But I must tell you that Pakistan Navy is a silent force which operates silently, but it does wonders. And it needs to be acknowledged, and its forthcoming exercise, Aman-2011, is something to watch out for, because it's an international level exercise where the flag showing of Pakistan, along with so many other international friends, is going to be a significant step. And its slogan, "Together for Peace," is becoming more meaningful. I would like to thank you, Admiral Shafi, Admiral Shahid, and Admiral Parvez. Viewers, please send us your comments at defenseanddiplomacy@ptv.com.pk, and see you next week, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.